The biggest annual convention for cinema owners happened last week, and we gathered all the news that came out of the convention. At CinemaCon, heaps of trailers and footage are shown to the people that are there, and some of it even gets shown to us that are not there on the internet. So we'll take a closer look at all the trailers that we got to see, and then all of the announcements that came out of the show floor in Las Vegas. So welcome back, Lachlan, as a bit of an unusual thing that we do here. Usually we cover the news on a weekly podcast, but this week it's just
There's
too
just
much.
So
right?
much. There's just so much
to get into. If you want to skip ahead, if there's anything specific that interests you, we'll go over the trailers first, and then we will get into each of the presentations that the different studios had. So you can find that all in the Timecodes link below. But first up, there I guess were a few trailers that will also link below if you want to check them out yourself. But yeah, Transformers got a new trailer. We've already seen a bit of that. What did you make of that one? Does it make you more keen to check out this latest installment in the series?
It doesn't. For some unknown reason, the trailer was very trash, so I have no interest of actually seeing this Transformers movie anymore. It's one of the very few action movies, like, you know how I'm the big
action guy of the podcast.
Of the podcast. I don't have any interest in seeing this movie. I just don't know what it is. I feel like Transformers has let me down too much for me to go and see this movie to be let down once again. So, no, I'm not interested in seeing it. It seems like it's just rehashing the same storyline as before. Here comes Cybertron and this big bad, and look, we've now got X Animal as a transformer working with the Autobots taking down the... It's not interesting anymore. It's all been done.
It's a lot, and I mean, we'll get into that a bit later, but they also had an announcement for an animated movie that they're doing that's supposedly kicking off, I guess, a new series of movies called Transformers 1. We'll get into the cast there, which is, by the way, really crazy for that cast. We'll get into that in a bit. Then Lionsgate didn't have like much to show because I'd say it's not like part of one of the big five of the distributors. It's a smaller one. They got Saw, they got I guess Hunger Games 10 years ago. They're holding on to that with Francis Lawrence, I think is his name, doing a prequel to in that universe called Hunger Games Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I think. I think that it is called that. Long title, and to me, I gotta say, like, I don't know what you made of it, but I thought this trailer looked horrible. It looked so bad.
It was terrible. Yeah. Once again, a secondary bad trailer that does not make me excited at all to go see this movie. To be fair, I'm not a Hunger Games guy, so I wasn't going to go see the movie, but it didn't give me a reason to go see the movie. I think the only interesting part for me is Peter Dinklage because he's such a good actor. I kind of want to see him because he was probably the only good part of that trailer. The rest of it was just a very repetitive montage of just one guy putting a gun against his chest and then watching something else happen. It's weird. It's just a weird trailer. It doesn't really do much. It doesn't really get you hyped up. It doesn't tell you
what
anything.
The story is of the movie? Do you like...
Well, it's the President Snow, and it's the first Hunger Games.
Right.
I understand the premise. I got the premise. I know what the movie's about.
No, I mean... Yeah, then why are you not excited?
Well, I'm sorry, Ewan. I know that you're the teen movie fan of the podcast, so that's why you want to go see the Hunger Games and Twilight series and the new Harry Potter series. That's all coming. You're all hyped for that, but it's just not my thing, man. You know what I mean? I'm just not interested in seeing this movie either.
Yeah, I mean, I read the books when they came out, and then watched the series, and then I think I pretty quickly was like, oh. They were not that great. The movies were also they were not that great, and it's just it screams that it just wants to be like a bit different, and to me it's like really wants that like Gen Z, Gen X approval, not Gen X, Gen Z, Zoomers all over the thing because it's like it's so horny in a sense. I don't know why Snow is like not wearing a shirt the whole time. It feels like, hey, someone watched Twilight and was like, well, that works for me. And after Shazam, I'm really not a fan of Rachel Zegler's performance in there. I think she just like is more a model or a stand-in of a person than an actress portraying a role, and I didn't see much more that would kind of contradict that. Having seen this trailer, maybe she'll work Snow White a bit better, but yeah, I'm also not really keen for this one. And the next trailer we got from Disney, which to me also didn't look any better. We'll get you some decent trailers, I guess, I think, later on. But yeah, what did you make of Wish?
This is where I shall diverge from your opinion, because I thought it looked very interesting, because it was not the traditional Disney style, like 100% the traditional Disney. Yeah, very different, and that's exciting that they're doing something different. So
they heard my wish for originality at least once, and they were like, "Hey, let's tell the origin story of the wishing star." That's what everyone was like, I don't know, waiting.
I guess it's going for that. It's a bit of a mixture. It feels like a hand-drawn crossover to like the modern Disney animated. So it feels like a crossover of classic Disney and then modern Disney. So I am excited for this one. I don't know. There was a spark, I guess, in this trailer that got me excited to kind of watch it. So yeah, I'm a little bit keen for this one, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'll hold my judgment until I see it. We might have a good one on our hands that just didn't really connect with me just on the trailer alone. And then we got another look, a new look, a more Batman-centered look for the upcoming Flash movie that's not too far away. I think it's out in June or July. And I like the trailer. I mean, it's really digital. It's really a lot of VFX going on, and that's not always a style that like looks amazing in these in the DC style, especially on the MCU. We don't even want to talk about that, but I like how much Keaton and maybe even Batfleck, just I guess on the side here. I don't think he's gonna be in much of the movie, but how much hopefully they will be in it. I just hope that they don't just run lines from previous movies. Like they had Keaton repeat the line about going nuts or something like that. Hopefully it's not just like a reference thing, but it's actually tied into the story in a neat way. But what did you make of the trailer, Lachlan?
It's hard to get excited for something that's about to end. Like they're crushing this universe to create a new one. And this is obviously like one of the,
I guess then
the
it's
last
still part
ones.
of it. Yeah.
It's still part of it, but I guess it's going to be the conclusion of it. And that's why I think it seems so epic. In a lot of ways, I'm excited about it, but in a lot of ways, I'm just a bit meh about it as well. It feels like the whole cameo thing that movies are doing these days has become a bit of a beating a dead horse sort of analogy, where they're just pulling out references from old things and they're just trying to use it to get a bit of hype around it. I get, like, it's a pretty good use of hype with Keaton's Batman coming back. That's exciting. I'll give him that. Like, that's a good hype train, but it feels like the way you said, are they just going to make him say lines from the old films and get him to say that to hype up people who love the old movies of Batman? I don't know. I don't want that. And it's the same way that Michael Shannon's coming back as well with what's his name? Zorg, whatever it is.
The Destroyer of Worlds. I don't know.
Yeah. It's like he's coming back, but he got the blessing of Zack Snyder apparently to come back and reprise that role, and it's like, okay, so they are definitely like crossing it all over, and they're getting a lot of people to come back, but obviously he would probably be the cheaper of the two to get back, him or Henry Cavill Superman, and obviously they already shot him down.
Yeah, they did, and I guess they're going into the a different direction with Supergirl is probably her name, I assume.
Yeah.
In that and yeah, two flashes. Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of hype. Flash eyes, yes. There's been a lot of hype coming out of CinemaCon for this movie. I think there was like a quote that's like, "Oh, it's the best superhero film ever," and then like who said that? Well, the CEO of like Warner Brothers or something. Like, well, okay, I guess you're not unbiased in that. But yeah, there's like there was usually hype around certain films that did showcase the whole movie there, because the movie did play at CinemaCon for the people there. And there were some movies that were actually pretty good that came out of it. Actually, some movies that were pretty bad. I'm blanking on which ones they were. If I remember to pull them up, I'll put them on screen right now. But yeah, I really liked the end to the trailer with like the different logos coming in. It was just like a neat little touch. And I liked that. It got me hyped. It ended the trailer in a good way. So like in the onslaught of trailers that I didn't like, I think this was a pretty solid one to actually get me excited for the film. Over the last couple of months, just I noticed that like every now and then you mention, oh yeah, I watched like the Equalizer film, and I think then you watched the sequel. So now that we got a trailer for Equalizer 3, are you excited to check out this film?
Hell yeah, I am. How could I not be with that trailer? The whole film of the Equalizer, the whole premise, forgive me, of the Equalizer is him being a badass in whatever situation he's in. And now he finds himself in like Italy, and I'm hyped. Like that, I didn't realize it was set in Italy, and I'm hyped.
Very
he's going
challenging
against
country.
The mafia. I'm hyped. That's exciting to me. This is like the best, to me, this was the best trailer of the ones that came out. Yeah, I got really hyped with this one, man. Denzel Washington's Equalizer character, Robert, is like one of my favorite of all time. He's just such a silent, loving character. To also be one of the like darkest, to go full John Wick, to become like Mr. Potato Head in Toy Story. Right? Like he plays kind of dumb, and he's like a bit of like a father figure to some of these other people. It's an exciting trailer. And obviously Dakota Fanning is also in it as well, which is super duper exciting.
To me, it didn't really do much. Maybe I was just like in a bad trailer mood that it didn't really care. But I guess I gotta revisit some of the Equalizer films. Maybe once you're into the ethos a bit more, and in there, you might get excited for the continuation of that story. To me, it felt like, slightly older actor does an action role in the Liam Neeson type of style, and it just like kind of continues there. But if it's like a good story and good action, then
you haven't seen The Equalizer?
I think I've seen the first one. I don't remember seeing the second one, but it's been at least 5 years. I don't know, when did the last one come out? When did 2 come out?
You should rewatch it.
I will definitely do that for the release of the third one. We are covering the Evil Dead, the new Evil Dead movie this week on the podcast, and I went back and watched not only the 4 movies, but also the 3 seasons of TV. So I do prepare for the show sometimes.
Didn't get that, so
it was a bit much. But actually, speaking of Italy, kind of back there was also another third entry in a series of the Kenneth Branagh is a mustachioed bad detective, I guess good detective, in a haunting in Venice. This one, to me, to be honest, you can't really go off the trailers for these films usually, but it didn't look too bad. I think they just like were also focusing on Michelle Yeoh in the trailer. They had like a sweeping shot as well. It was like it felt like they were capitalizing on her being relevant right now a lot with Everything Everywhere, and like you have a sweeping fast motion. It's like, ooh, that's another good movie. That's like a lot of that's got good entertainment with Michelle Yeoh in it. But yeah, are you planning to watch the latest Kenneth Branagh film set in Venice?
I'll watch it for Michelle Yeoh. That's so wicked, and I also see that Jamie Dornan's also in it. And a little Belfast reunion for Mr. Kenneth and Mr. Jamie there. That's going to be super exciting. Look, I didn't really. I mean, I watched the trailer and I kind of guess it was just like a horror, but I didn't realize it was a continuation. Is it a whodunit? Yeah, it is a whodunit.
It is, I guess. Yeah, there's also Jude Hill, who was the kid in Belfast. He's also in it, so I don't know. Maybe just like they spoilers for
Copy and paste.
Belfast. I think they stay in Belfast. They don't leave, right? That's the story of Belfast. I don't remember. But imagine they leave and they go to Venice, and that's the like uncanon continuation of Belfast. It's just this
Okay. It's
but
an adaptation of the Agatha Christie 1996 model Halloween party.
exactly.
With the setting changed to Venice, Italy. I'd still go see the Equalizer over this one for Venice, for Italy. Follows the connection murder of the Orient. Okay, cool. All right, it's a whodunit. A whodunit with horror aspects.
Yeah.
I'm actually now a bit more intrigued.
Well, it doesn't have
I'm getting
horror tag in there. I think it's just like, I don't think it's gonna go straight up horror. Just I don't see that happening. But I mean, that would be like breath of fresh air for the series. Did
Michelle
you like Murder on the
Yeoh
Orient?
is a con woman. That's what this storyline's going to be. That she's faking the whole thing, and then yeah, okay, I like it. Get Daniel Craig in this movie, and then it's better.
Yeah, it's just they do gotta clash at some point. I feel like those worlds do have to collide. Yeah, that could be quite entertaining. Did you like the first two?
Oh, is it actually part of the series, or I thought it was just like loose? Okay, if it's part of the series, no, I didn't. I found them kind of annoying.
Yeah, I like the first
but again,
one, but
this could be like a Equalizer situation where I mean, Murder on the Orient Express was okay. I actually didn't mind that one, but Murder on the Nile River, whatever the second one was called, in Egypt, I found quite but maybe I should go back and watch it, similar to how you should go and watch The Equalizer. Maybe it's just you know, we were in a different kind of situation, different kind of mood back then.
I think it was just
what it is.
I think it was in a mood of like, hey, I want to watch a movie that is not bad, and then the movie was bad, and I'm usually always in that mood. And Death on the Nile really doesn't survive that critique. I think it's just like not a good movie. I do have to revisit the first one.
Death on the Nile, that's what it was called.
I think I liked the first one quite a bit when it came out, but I watched it, I think, in theaters and haven't watched it since. So it's been a couple of years. But yeah, in the second one, we got the backstory to Kenneth Branagh's mustache, which was very exciting. I've just watched too much Evil Dead because now I kind of want that like mustache to become like possessed and be a demon and that be the killer for the whole thing. That would actually like save the series for me, but yeah, bit unrealistic there. And then finally, the much teased and never released and also connected to drama with Armie Hammer film from Taika Waititi, The Next Goal Wins. Finally got like a full-on trailer where we get to see a bit more of the story. And yeah, they've pushed this movie back a couple of times. They had to recast Armie Hammer with Will Arnett. And it looks fun. It looks okay. I don't know. It looks kind of generic as well. I don't know what the twist will be for like the Taika spin on it that will make it like a bit more charming than other things, because recently, especially if Taika's involved in front of the camera, which he doesn't seem to be. Yeah. Yeah, what did you make of the trailer?
I feel like it's probably going to be a return to form for Taika Waititi. I think that his big blockbusters and his larger scale films lose what makes him such a good filmmaker, and that's the personal connection, the family connection, the emotional relationship between certain characters. He's great with his early stuff, with his sort of neglect, missing father from most of his films, and then focusing around a child. Obviously, this is going to be a little bit different, but possibly from the perspective of a father, maybe, but I'm not 100% sure. But hopefully it's a little bit more, I mean, it's clearly smaller scale than like Thor Ragnarok or Thor, what was the second one? Endgame? Thor Endgame, whatever it was called.
Yes, for Endgame. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
No.
So yeah, hopefully
for Endgame, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, it's Endgame. So hopefully it is going to be
for late stage cancer.
I will still watch it because I do really enjoy Taika Waititi's humor in some situations, but also I feel like it's just going to be a better story than any of the other ones.
yeah, I remain hopeful. This looks quite fun. Like someone who's been placed with a team that he doesn't want to coach. That's something that's been done a lot. So that's like where my kind of reluctance come in to be like hyped for this in any sort of way. But he's good with that, like throwing people into situations that they're not really comfortable with and bringing the humor out there. I think he does it wonderfully whenever anything happens in What We Do in the Shadows. So yeah, he definitely has the chops to pull it off. But it's all the trailers that came out. I don't know if there were some couple ones that we missed, but that's was the extensive look at those. Now let's have a look at what each studio then ended up announcing as well. And let's kick it off with Warner Brothers that announced that Beetlejuice 2 is definitely happening. The Conjuring 4 is gonna end the series 4 now. And they also showed a trailer for Dune 2 that's not available to the public, but apparently they got a practical sandworm. I don't know if it's up to scale because that sounds crazy to me. I don't know how they did that. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's like Christopher Nolan crashed
It'll be done with miniatures.
It's gotta be, right? That would be so crazy if it's like actual big web. That's not possible. That's not a thing. But it's also shot 100% on IMAX, which is exciting. If you'd have access to like an IMAX theater anywhere close, I don't. But yeah, that's certainly interesting to have that because not a lot of movies have ever done that to be 100% shot on IMAX. Then there was also the news about Wonka, the prequel to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, that apparently has Hugh Grant as an Oompa Loompa. Then the plot for Aquaman reveals that there's, I think, a baby, and Black Mantis attacks Atlantis with a black trident. That doesn't say anything to me at all, but if you're a comic book connoisseur, you might be able to tell us if that's like in any way exciting that he has a baby. Whatever. It's like a fish. It's like people who claim that like their dog is their child. But yeah, there was also some just news about Barbie. Then the Meg 2 is happening. The Trench. They showed some more stuff for Blue Beetle. The Nun 2, and The Color Purple. So that was all the stuff that they have on the horizon. It's usually just a showcase as well for like the upcoming slate of films that they have. So even if there's like nothing that we have to say like specifically about the film, I'll just mention still the slate for the studio so you can kind of see what they got going on for the rest of the year, or sometimes even into the next year. Yeah, anything that stood out to you? I think like their stuff is pretty just like, yeah, that's the next stuff from Warner Brothers. Nothing too crazy at the moment, right?
No, nothing crazy.
Yeah.
All of that's pretty much. I wish I could see the June trailer. Like, I'm very, very excited. That's planning on coming out this year, right? June 2, kind of like the end of the year.
Yes. I hope they show it in front of Barbie. That would be really funny.
Oh, great. They'll probably do a, they'll probably do when, is it Oppenheimer? Yeah, they'll probably do a trailer with Oppenheimer when it comes out.
Because like,
because that's going to be like shot on IMAX kind of situation. It's the perfect time to show a trailer.
Yeah, maybe they do. I mean, Nolan used to work with Warner Brothers, right? Until they didn't split so amicably over like the Tenet situation.
They did, didn't they? Oh,
so like
yeah.
the Barbie thing feels slightly
fucking
personal. So I don't know.
I'll go see Barbie over Oppenheimer anyway.
But yeah, I don't know if that's like it doesn't mean that the theater owners aren't gonna show those trailers in front of the other ones. Although like coming from someone who works at a theater, the distributors sometimes do send you a list of movies they would wish to have like the trailers in front of their movies. But yeah, I think you're not tied to that in any sort of way. Then I didn't look up because I was too lazy, and it's just like a fun bit of news on the side that I do want to talk about briefly. Is like the Raka Raka Boys. We talked about them recently with Talk to Me. I'm really excited for that horror film that came out of Sundance. They landed a big movie with the Street Fighter, I guess, readaptation. They're gonna do a video game movie. And from what I've heard of Talk to Me, I'm actually quite excited to see what they have to offer. And if you've watched any of their stuff before, they are big into stunts and all of like crazy action. So I think they're definitely like the right people to get like a good twist on that franchise. I haven't seen like I think there is like a Street Fighter movie that's pretty bad. I haven't seen that one. Are you familiar with like the games? Have you played them?
I'm not a big like fighting game person. I just
Yeah.
I mean I when I was younger I used to play them like on a little arcade, but I never got into it when I got older, so I get absolutely wrecked every time I have a friend who wants to play it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm aware of the Street Fighter games, but I'd say I was a bit more of a Mortal Kombat person than anything else.
Yeah, and I mean it's also there's a bit more lore I think to the Mortal Kombat games than to Street Fighter, just on the surface level of what someone who hasn't played either game really.
You need to be careful by
can
saying that,
say.
you could have just pissed off the
Pissed off
entirety
Street
of
Fights?
like yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
yesterday
you
I
gotta be
was
careful with that one, man.
yesterday I was driving home from work, and then like someone on the top floor was like I don't know, drunk and shouting stuff down, and then I heard like someone spit, and I was so close to, hey, let's street fight right now. So maybe we should not get into that too much and talk about
Very good.
Sony. Sony has a couple of things lined up. One of them is Dumb Money. They showed like a clip of it in there with Seth Rogen. That's about the whole GameStop stock thing. Stonks. I don't know. Input meme here about the stock market. Inflation. I don't know. Something like that. Quick turnaround for that story, but they showed a bit of that.
Yeah.
Then
Awesome.
in the Spider-Man Sony universe, a bit of a standalone film here with Aaron Taylor Johnson. We are getting Kraven the Hunter. They showed a clip where we saw a transformation of a guy like with an infusion, so it's not a tech-based stuff for one of the villains in the movie with Rhino, and the movie's gonna be R-rated, the first one of its kind. That's gonna be something interesting that I kind of want to keep my eyes on, because like, you know, we got Venom, which could potentially be R-rated, and it went the PG-13 route, but here we are getting a bit more, I guess, of a more an adult skewing take on that character. I'm not familiar with him at all, but I guess he's hunting animals. Kraven the Hunter, simple enough. They showed some clips for Gran Turismo, and they also got another R-rated rom-com this time, Anyone But You, that's based on William Shakespeare Much Ado About Nothing, that stars Glenn Powell and Sweeney Todd. Sweeney Todd, no, Sydney Sweeney. No one's gonna get sliced while they get a haircut there. But they might get sliced on the internet, because it did spark a bunch of drama surrounding it, I think, because both of those two are, I think, both like in a relationship or whatever. I don't know, maybe just one of them is, or like married or whatever. And I think apparently there was something going on with the two of them. So for those who are into that like drama behind the scenes, I guess there's something ripe for the taking for you there. And finally, they did show a bit of Napoleon, the new Ridley Scott film with Joaquin Phoenix, that's set to come out later this year as well. So I think Sony has a bit of a more exciting lineup compared to Warner Brothers, right?
I don't know, man. Dune 2 is holding that that up really high for me.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm
fair.
probably super excited for anything from Sony is Napoleon.
Of course.
I'm very keen to see Napoleon, because even though I didn't like a whole lot of The Last Duel, I thought the scale of it was quite interesting, and then obviously Ridley Scott's previous work in other historical pieces like Gladiator as a small example. You might have heard of the film. If you haven't, it's okay.
Short little Oscar-winning film. Yeah.
But no, like I'm excited for Napoleon quite a bit. I'm excited because it's an Apple production as well, funnily enough. So it'll actually be on Apple TV Plus, but I want to see it in the cinemas as well. But I think it might be a limited release in cinemas, unfortunately, because Apple is a bit of a dick in that kind of situation. I think
so, they are trying
like
to
Dune, Napoleon. It's like Dune is up here, Napoleon is like here, everything else is like down here. So it's like it's not.
Especially the rom-coms, which supposedly is like really down there around your crotch area, because they said there's a lot of sex in that. That's why it's R-rated.
Wow.
So for those of
So
you who
good.
do want to get that fix, there you go. I guess. Yeah. I mean, Apple TV is, I think, trying to get this stuff more into theaters as well. So they not just to compete with like at the awards at the end of the year. I think they do see the value a bit more than someone like Netflix does, who is like, I don't know what they're doing as of recent. I think that they're kind of just like they're throwing they're throwing hard at the
Mm.
moment. But yeah, there's another studio that had some big hits last year with Paramount. They had Top Gun Maverick, that basically carried them through the entire year easily. They also had another hit earlier this year with Smile, and now they have confirmed to give that one a sequel. And yeah, it's you didn't watch Smile, right? Also,
No.
yeah, don't. It's not worth it. It's really just, I don't know why it got so much hype. It wasn't that great. It was just pretty generic. I really hope they I don't know, called it like Frown or whatever, and it's just like something else in the second one. Smile 2 with the same premise would just be a bit boring. And then we talked about it at the very start of the video about Transformers. Transformers 1, starring Chris Hemsworth as Optimus Prime, Brian Tyree Henry as Megatron, Keegan-Michael Key as Bumblebee, Scarlett Johansson as Elida, John Hamm as Sentinel Prime, Lawrence Fishburne as Alpha Trion is gonna come to theaters by Paramount. Talk about a cast. Directed by Josh Cooley, the director of Toy Story 4. Yeah. Lachlan, are you gonna watch this one? Are you more excited for an animated Transformer story, or do you not care?
I still don't care. I'm just not into Transformers
But
right
it's
now,
got,
bro.
but luckily, it's got famous names attached to it that are not voice actors,
Wow.
but they're famous people. Although Brian Tyree Henry is amazing. I think he was in the first Spider-Verse movie, if I'm not messing up with someone else. He's great. Like Chris
I was
Hemsworth
gonna
is
say,
just famous,
Lawrence Fishburne might be the only name I'm excited about
right?
because I love his voice. His voice is
Yeah.
great, no matter what. I could listen to his voice, or he's like a good voice, like a good narrating voice, like a David Attenborough. Like who else has Morgan Freeman has like a really well known voice
Yeah.
of like it's just like good to listen to. Same with Lawrence Fishburne,
Mhm.
just the way that he could enunciate certain words. Certain words.
Yeah.
It gets me quite excited to just
Yeah.
like when he's in John Wick and he's just starts yelling certain words. Just there's an aspect to it. It's like a preacher style. It's so much fun, eh?
Yeah, I'm also gonna check this one out when it does come out. And depending on how big scale it is, because it is like set on Cybertron. It's a bit of an origin story. All of these characters that they portray are like the young versions of them. So yeah, if it's good, why not? And then on the completely other side of the spectrum, instead of giving us a prequel where they're younger, they're giving us a sequel to the Avatar character, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Seeing, I guess, Aang, Katara, Sokka, Zuko, and Toph return as adults in another animated movie. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago because I, for the first time ever, ended up watching, coincidentally, not tied to this whatsoever. I didn't know that this was happening. Watched all of Avatar: The Last Airbender and then Korra, The Legend of Korra. And we talked about that, like, I guess a bit more, a bit longer on our podcast. But we're both big fans of the series. Are you interested in something like this, or do you think they just like should leave the show be and not do like any follow-up stories with these characters?
I think that they should continue on because I'm pretty sure it's the original creator who was doing all of this work anyway. So
Yep.
at least it's not done by somebody else who got the rights to continue making on a story. And I believe
Yep.
that they've created their own studio so that they have complete creative freedom. So I'm excited for this more than anything else. More than fucking Chris Hemsworth being Optimus Prime.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah, I really agreed there, and I think it's also like you do get Aang in, I guess, and this is not a spoiler. You do get like a, you don't really get him again, but just like kind of briefly in Korra again, but it's set like 100 years later, or like a long time after. So there's a long time span that it's just kind of, you could fill in with stories that are obviously like quite interesting if you look at the world in Korra. The in between there, there's a lot to explore. That's that's fun. So can't be worse than the M Night Shyamalan movie. So I'll take that.
Man, you know how last week you
yeah.
were like pulling out things from the back of my head that I hadn't thought about for like years? You just
This is again. That's I aim to remind and please and whatever. All right, A Quiet Place, day one. I guess another prequel story to The Quiet Place is happening. It takes place in New York. Stars Lupita Nyong'o, Joseph Quinn, and Alex Wolff. And I think they did show a bunch of clips on the show floor. We haven't. Did we get it? No, I think we don't have a trailer or a teaser for that one yet. But yeah, I guess aliens wreaking havoc. Wait, that's not. Those two words don't exist. Chaos in New York City. Aliens killing people, and they don't know yet how to defeat them. So lots of death. I assume more action based things in this. I don't know. I think I liked the first The Quiet Place. I didn't need really a sequel or like a prequel or whatever to the story. But there's also the next thing that John Krasinski is moving on to, because he's not directing this one. With If. And like the premise of If is like it's a mix between live action and I guess animated, and it's got like speaking of famous people in the Transformers thing, it's got a shit ton of famous people voicing these like friends, I guess. So it's about like finding new homes for these imaginary friends in this world. Once people forget or move on from their imaginary friends, they are left in a state of limbo. And there's a voice cast including Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, Maya Rudolph, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Vince Vaughn, Sam Rockwell, Richard Jenkins, Jon Stewart, Sebastian Maniscalco, I'm not familiar with him, and Aquafina as well. So lots of people in this. Out of those two, The Quiet Place or If, which one are you more excited for or like interested in?
I would say A Quiet Place. However, If reminds me of, it's a terrible movie, but it's like a good childhood movie. I remember Drop Dead Fred, and it's a very similar premise. Have you heard of Drop Dead Fred?
No, I only know Fred to unlock another meme of you in that Fred movie. The YouTuber.
Sure. Yeah. Drop Dead Fred essentially is like an imaginary friend, and similar thing. If you forget about your imaginary friend, they move on to somebody else. So it's very similar, and it reminds me of that a little bit. So I could definitely get behind this idea because it can be. I do remember like Drop Dead Fred being quite sad when he eventually has to leave and move on to the new person he's the imaginary friend for. But anyway, I'll probably
they
go
don't
see a Quiet
just
Place.
fade away like in Inside Out. That was quite sad. But yeah, I guess it just kept in a limbo there. He does get snapped. A lot of people got snapped in like the late 2010s. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yes. Someone whose later seasons I would love to get snapped is SpongeBob, and he's getting another movie. I don't know which. Is this like the 4th or 5th movie, I guess, so maybe even more at this point. May 23rd, 2025. Apparently this one's bigger than ever. I don't know if it's just like a bigger sponge, or the ocean's bigger because the water level are rising. I don't know what the premise is for this one. I haven't kept up with SpongeBob like really ever. Like to me, I guess I didn't even watch it really as a kid. But I do know that the first 3 seasons are actually like the ones that are good, and then the showrunners left. And I didn't know this, but the show is still ongoing. Did you know that? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it still runs. I don't watch it. I watched it a lot when I was younger. I watched a whole lot of it when I was younger, but yeah, I definitely haven't been keeping up with the show.
With the show, yes, with the square and the pants. So yeah, that's another one. There, it doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon, but not really having them seen like canonically and like on the TV usually. I didn't really watch a lot of Nickelodeon growing up, so I did miss out on like a lot of these shows that some people in our like generation kind of nostalgically look fondly back on. But yeah, I do kind of want to revisit the first 3 seasons if this movie comes out, although it's probably not tied to that directly to a storyline. But yeah, that's that for Paramount on what they announced. The rest of their slate includes Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. They also got Killers of the Flower Moon that both of us are going to catch in 20 days from today that we are recording. 21 days in Cannes. So subscribe to the channel if you want to get those like first-hand impressions right as we get to see that film. There's also Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. So they do have a couple of potential big hitters on the horizon, although I think Scorsese films have not made more than like 100 million or maybe like 150 million at the box office ever, which is still big for like someone who does like more drama based stuff and not like blockbusters. But still, like it puts it into context how much bigger just like I guess event cinema is. That's it for Paramount. Overall, are you looking forward to this, like to put it into perspective with the other studios, because we do gotta duke it out between all of them. Which one's got the best lineup? Is it still Warner Brothers carried on the top of Dune?
Yeah, probably. From like a scale level, I'm probably still excited for Dune more than anything.
Then another big studio here with Universal. They did show some footage of Wicked and mentioned that they got like really big scale sets there with apparently 9 million really real multicolored tulips on set. My first impression was, oh, that's a bit of a waste. But yeah, I guess that's what they're going for, big sets for this Wizard of Oz prequel. Then to me the funniest thing coming out of all of this in CinemaCon is that Fast X is about to come out in a couple of weeks. The first part of the 2-part finale for the Fast and Furious saga. So get this. The 11th film in the Fast and Furious saga is not going to be called Fast 11 or Fast 1-on-1 or whatever play you could potentially do to screw up whatever logic was there to do the names of the sequels. But no, the 11th film in the saga is called Fast X Part 2, coming to your theaters in 2025. So
well done.
Yeah, good on them. I don't know, it worked for you know what they should have done, just like Apple, they should have just skipped number 9 and just go to X, but they didn't do that. But yeah, that's that movie is not too far away, and then we also got the confirmation that Kung Fu Panda 4 is in the works by Mike Mitchell, the director of the Lego Movie 2, Trolls, and Shrek Forever. And it's about Poe, what's his name? Not Pooh. Poe? Poe. Okay. I hated the first Kung Fu Panda film, so I never watched any of the sequels. But yeah, he's not retiring, but he gets a promotion, so he's looking for the next dragon warrior, and that's an animated movie. Very cool, very nice. Sticking with animation that I don't care for, Illumination announced, I guess, the bigger cast around Migration, the next movie that is coming later in the fall. There's some big names on it, but I really couldn't care less about anything Illumination unless it's got the Super Mario Bros. Attached to it. And then finally, we got the Fall Guy from David Leitch coming to us. There wasn't, I think, too much announced surrounding that. Maybe they showed some clips, but nothing that we got online. Like not too much from Universal, to be honest. It feels like they got some stuff in the works. It's gonna take a bit longer to get out, but which ones of those are you most looking forward to?
The Fall Guy.
Which I don't know if you can get the premise up here, what it is going to be about. It's like, is it going to be another video game movie?
No, I believe The Fall Guy it's based off of a TV show, and it's just a movie adaptation of that.
Yeah.
A battered and past his prime stuntman finds himself working on a movie set with the star for whom he doubled long ago and who replaced him. The star then goes missing.
Ooh, that sounds somewhat like Drive. Maybe we should get Ryan Gosling to star in it. So, yes.
Yeah. Only reason I'm excited for it is that it was shot in Sydney at Disney Studios, and
Yeah.
there was like a whole bunch of media press on it about Ryan Gosling being like held at the back of a truck strapped to it for like an action scene. It was kind of cool, so I'm excited.
I like that behind the truck, not on top of a tram or whatever that's crashing. I do prefer him at the back. I think this gonna be better than the Gray Man.
I also want to just quickly,
Yep.
we've already spoken about him on this before, but Aaron Taylor Johnson, he's popping off right now. He's popping off, having his 2020 rush of movies.
Great glow up that he had from those like kick-ass movies from 1 to 2, and then he's just been on a slow climb, but he's like, we both really enjoyed Bullet Train, and I think he's one of the two that really make that movie work, him and Brian Tyree Henry. And I just love for him to get more of these like roles where he gets to do like fun shit. And then finally, speaking I guess of Disney, where they filmed in Sydney, Disney Studios, whatever. This is a shit tie over. But Disney and 20th Century Fox did have a bunch of things announced there. Not too much, to be honest. I think they were like, yeah, no, you know what's coming out. We don't need to say much about this. But Gareth Edwards, who hasn't done a movie after like doing one of the Godzilla films and then doing, I guess, part of Rogue One. He hasn't done a movie since, but he's got a new one in the works with John David Washington starring, called The Creator, that is about a man who protects a non-human child during an apocalyptic war between humans and AI. And apparently from the people at CinemaCon, it gave off District 9 vibes, so that's promising. I like that. The other things, I guess, that Disney really showed, like the trailer for A Haunting in Venice. We've already talked about that, as well as Wish. We've talked about Elemental before and The Little Mermaid. There's also Haunted Mansion that's coming from them. And then The Boogeyman is another, I guess, big one that they're doing, which is a horror film done by Disney. Or is it, I guess, more under the umbrella of 20th Century Fox? Not entirely. Oh, 20th Century, sorry. It's Drop the Fox. That's the lineup for Disney. Not too much to say about this. They, I think, don't really have an exciting lineup, if I'm being totally honest. I don't know. Is that harsh? I don't know.
I'm glad you're being honest, man.
Like, I don't know. I would love to see The Little Mermaid. I just confirmed with someone like who works at Disney that we unfortunately won't get like a press screening just before we head to Cannes. It's gonna be after we are there, so we probably not even like cover The Little Mermaid because we're busy otherwise. But I guess we'll get to talk about Elemental at the end of Gunda. But yeah, the rest of it is just, it feels like, hey, we got a property, let's adapt it. And there's not even any sort of interesting stuff that they could like mix it up or mess it up in an interesting way. If it flops, it just like flops in Disney fashion. And it's really unexciting. So yeah. Also, I don't know if this is tied whatsoever to CinemaCon, but The Pope's Exorcist. The films that came out earlier this year with Russell Crowe is getting a sequel, and yeah, he speaks Italian of it. There was also a quote, an interview that came out that like his role in Thor: Love and Thunder as Zeus gave him the confidence to, I guess, speak Italian in a movie, which is just such a random thing to come out of it. But that's it for CinemaCon. Let us know what you are most excited about. We went really overboard. I don't know how much of that will stay in the video, but there was so much to talk about. So many new films, exciting films. We can both say that we're probably most looking forward to Migration from Illumination. No, from the Practical Sandworm on Akaris. No, it's not. Fuck, I should have looked that up. On Dune. It's Dune Part 2, the movie that we're most looking forward to for the rest of the year. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Check out the podcast. We got a weekly show. Gonna talk about Evil Dead on that. And then we are in Cannes, again, reminding you. So subscribe to not miss that. And we'll see you soon.